Been getting a lot of questions about women's health and hormones. And so I'm going to dedicate an entire day of the week, Fridays, to videos about women's health and hormones. There's a lot of questions to answer, but let's start with the most commonly asked question. And that is, what about my hair? I actually just got a question today. And the question is, do you have any recommendations or suggestions for hair loss? My younger sister's losing lots of hair, a concerning amount. And when I get questions like this, I want to make sure it's available to as many people as possible. However, it's a very broad question. So for me to answer it really in the way that's going to give you results, I need to know more about you. So I'm going to give you some questions for you to ask yourself to kind of guide you in which direction it's going to be that you need to focus to make sure that you're getting that taken care of. So in this first part one of this series, we're going to focus on the nutrition because I'm a nutritionist and I want to make sure all of the ingredients are there to grow hair first. And then in part two, we'll look at some hormones that could be up to 50% of the reason that women are losing their hair. All right. Well, let's examine whether or not we are overthinking this because we are losing hair every day. In fact, one doctor was just telling me that we lose 90 strands of hair a day. I was like, 90, you're counting. And the other one said, wait a minute, we're losing 100 a day. I said, hold on, get it together, guys. Is it 90 or is it 100? What is it? And who's counting anyway? Well, it turns out that perhaps somebody at the American Academy of Dermatology is counting because they say hair shedding often stops on its own. It's normal to shed between 50 and 100 hairs a day. And I say that because I don't want you to lose any sleep over a loss of a little bit of hair. I want to make sure that it is a lot of hair, as in the message that just came to me asking about this. And is it a concerning amount? And if it is, let's start with asking some very important questions. And the first question that you should be asking yourself is, am I getting enough protein? Protein is what you need to make hair. In fact, your hair is protein. And this is where it gets a little weird, but a lot of people take collagen thinking it's going to give them more collagen. And it's kind of funny when you really break it down, because once you eat the collagen, you break it down into these building blocks called amino acids, which you need to make collagen or hair. But you also have all this other chemistry that you need to actually make the collagen. In fact, Mark Anderson, a friend of mine, he makes a very good point about this. He says, look, I got $1 million idea. All these people want to grow hair. I'm going to take human hair and put it in a pill and I'm going to sell it to them. And then they'll be able to take that hair to make their hair, right? It's just a fun way to kind of point out that we actually just need to get all the nutrients in us and our body's going to build what it needs to build. And unfortunately, hair is not essential to your survival till tomorrow. So it's kind of the last thing that your body's going to be putting resources towards. Remember, we're replacing somewhere around 330 billion cells every day, and we need those amino acids for that and a bunch of other nutrients. So let's just take a closer look at whether or not it's protein that you're not getting enough of, because it's very common. And I want to encourage everybody to really pay attention to the protein you're getting, because it is the biggest macronutrient need that is being missed, I think. And the fatty acids are big too, but protein should be first. And just, of course, make sure you're digesting it, which is another conversation. So I found this great article that gives you a checklist of all the things that you're going to want to look at to make sure you're getting the nutrition first. It's the diet and hair loss effects of nutrient deficiency and supplement use. So let's go through this list together and just help you find out whether or not maybe you're missing one of these. So great article, and I'll put the link below, but on the side over here, you can just click and it'll take you to the different ingredients. Down here, we have amino acids and protein. Protein malnutrition can result in hair changes that include hair thinning and hair loss. Well, of course, it is a protein, and we need lots of protein to be able to make more protein. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to repeat that many times because it might be as simple as that for you, and I hope it is quite genuinely. But let's take a look at the rest of the ingredients that we need to make hair. We have biotin right above that. Now, biotin, a lot of people think about, for hair, skin, and nails, and they go buy a biotin supplement, but then it doesn't work. And I want to just remind you, it takes more than that. That's like saying, okay, I wanted to bake a cake, so I went to the grocery store and I got eggs because I know they're an ingredient for a cake. Well, if you don't have all the other ingredients, you definitely don't have a cake. So we have to look at all these ingredients. And this is not meant to overwhelm you at all. This is to empower you to really look at your foods and make sure you're getting whole foods that are providing you with a whole host of these things that are going to help you out. Above that, folic acid is on this list. Now, I want to encourage people to get whole food folate as their source And asparagus and black beans are the most common ones I tell people to include for that. I'd say about 40% of the people I work with are low in folate intake. So that's one worth looking at. Above that, we have vitamin E. This is why I always recommend people eat raw nuts and seeds. They're a great whole food source of vitamin E. Now, someone might say, well, my multivitamin has vitamin E on it. Look at that. It probably actually says D-alpha tocopherol, which is allowed to be called vitamin E, but it's only one part of how vitamin E occurs in nature when you get it from foods. There are actually alpha, beta, delta, and gamma tocopherols and alpha, beta, delta, gamma tocotrienols, which is the full story when it comes to vitamin E. And you're going to get that from food, not from a supplement necessarily. Okay, so keep that in mind. Vitamin A should be something that you're making sure you're getting a good whole food source of. Vitamin D is one that is very commonly missing. If you're not getting it from the sun, you do want to make sure that you're getting it in a whole food supplement or a way that it's balanced. Selenium is another one. Many times people will tell me, well, Dustin, I eat 2 Brazil nuts a day, and that can be a good source of selenium, but not always. You want to make sure that those Brazil nuts are raw, organic, and sprouted if you're trying to make sure you're getting the micronutrients from them the best. And if you're really going to go to the next level, make sure that they're grown in an area that actually has selenium in soil. I know that's complex, but you might want to think about other ways to make sure you're getting selenium. Fatty acids. Now, that's the other macronutrient. And this is something that I found myself in testing people that probably most Americans have less than half of what they need. So that would be another place that you might want to put some attention on. And again, once you do that, all of your body is going to thank you for it. You have on every one of those cells that you replace a phospholipid bilayer, the lipid being fat. So to replace all of those cells that you need, you're going to need this. So pay attention to this one. Vitamin B3 or niacin is going to be a big one. Iron is one of the most common deficiencies. It actually says it is the world's most common nutritional deficiency right here and is a well-known cause of hair loss. All of these could be associated with hair loss, but I'm going to focus on zinc. Zinc is the one that I have found the most to be the usual suspect because it's so commonly missing. It's an essential mineral required by hundreds of enzymes and multiple transcription factors that regulate gene expression. It's important for your immune system and so many other things. But it's been a long time known that there's an association between low zinc and alopecia areata. So there's your checklist. First, make sure that you have these nutrients and for a little while, right? It takes a little while to grow hair before you start to think that it's something outside of that. Now, in the part 2 of this video, I will look at something that is known to be up to 50% of the reason that women are losing their hair. And I'll show you really quickly before I end the video what that is. And it's something called androgenic alopecia. And just to keep this video short and sweet, I'm going to end it there. But in the next video, I'm going to go over all of the aspects of that, what you can do about it and why it's happening. And just remember that there's always something you can do for your health, no matter what it is. And oftentimes it can be a missing nutrient. And if you need help identifying it, that's what we're here for. We want to make sure that we're helping you be the healthiest version of yourself. And in my opinion, that starts with making sure you have all the genuine nutrients that you need to replace everything that you need in the body. Hope this is helpful, and I will see you in the part 2 video to outline what could be the other half of why your hair is falling out. Have a great day.